We see it every day, people live it every day, and we ignore it every day. Poverty, a problem that seems to be so irrelevant, yet it is so prevalent. In the United States, poverty is a state of being poor and not having enough, or just barely enough to sustain a human's life. Clothing, food, water, and shelter are all basic necessities that every human being needs to be able to live and sustain life. Humans all over the world are almost missing every necessity. However, in America, humans do not have access to one or two necessities. Because of the abundance of resources, most Americans find a way to manage around a necessity or two. Poverty leaves millions homeless, hungry, and restless, just making it by every day, and citizens are barely surviving because of it. American citizens are blind to the fact that poverty is a problem because families, seniors, and children are faced with food and shelter insecurities daily. According to Poverty USA, 1 in every 6 Americans live in poverty every day. They face the struggle of food insecurity, which means that they are not sure whether they will have a meal for that day, and depending on the situation, a meal for that week. In 2015, 1 out of every 7 families had to take a gamble on whether they had enough meals to eat on any given day. Those suffering from poverty are usually not hard to spot. It is just the fact that we as Americans are never really looking at those around us and their problems. Senior citizens barely survive off what they receive from Social Security, and they have no option but to pass up the needed medication to be able to afford a meal. We do not see that they are not taking their blood pressure medication or their diabetic insulin. When children go to school, we see the innocent smiles that hide all sorts of secrets regarding their personal lives. A secret that keeps them from doing their homework. A secret that keeps them from talking to other classmates. It is not a secret, though, that 1.6 million children in total are living in a shelter or an emergency shelter. In 2015, 15.5 million in total were living in poverty. It is not always easy to spot. However, with a number as wide as 46.2 to 46.7 million actually documented, it is easy to understand that people who suffer from poverty usually are faced with this problem. It is a problem that is faced throughout the entire United States, but the Southern Hemisphere is exposed to most of it. The southern part of the United States has the highest poverty rates, and this affects the economy and sociology of the entire America. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, a whopping 121.2 million live in the southern region of the United States, making the South the largest percentage with 37.3%. This means that the U.S. is greatly affected by the economics in the South. People who suffer from poverty usually receive some sort of financial assistance from the government, and that usually requires higher tax premiums and larger deductions to state and educational programs. Poverty in most areas within the South are above 17%, a huge fraction of human beings to be barely surviving and scraping to find financial assistance. Also, people do not want to be taxed more, so people often move to different areas and look for adequate jobs within the surface area. Education taught and received is at a lower level. Then jobs begin to follow the trend of becoming low-wage and poorly worked. All of this plays a vital role in a weakening and ultimately deteriorating social structure. Here I have an apple. I have split it up into 4 pieces. Alright, so I'm going to give you each an apple slice. And as you look at your apple slice, you notice 2 things. The first thing is that the slices are not cut to the same and fair size. The second thing is that one person didn't receive an apple slice, and that is the cameraman. The cameraman didn't receive a slice, and that is how most America lives today. 1 out of every 5 or 6 people are living without adequate meals. The many million who are homeless, hungry, and struggling to barely survive are faced with poverty, and it is felt deeply in the southern part of the United States. Poverty is one of the largest problems that people are faced with on a global scale, and its repercussions are much greater than the average American believes. Although America's poverty rate is only a fraction of the global's poverty rate, America has one of the strongest economies, and this can change within the coming years if the poverty rate continues to grow. America has different resources that assist and accommodate those who suffer from poverty. Unfortunately, not enough though. America has many organizations that provide assistance and support for a global effort. Again, not enough. Poverty will continue to consume the lives of so many people until the United States subtracts the millions by millions. America's poverty rate will continue to rise and catch up with that of the global's rate. Thank you.